If the carrier is telling you that they have approved enough, plenty to cover the material and labor costs for the job, and you disagree, what do? As a contractor, you have a right to discuss your bid, but I find that most contractors that complain about this kind of thing haven't produced a bid. And you have a contingency contract that says that you'll do the work for the amount that the insurance company approves, in essence, giving the right to the carrier to determine how much you're going to charge. That's not exactly a good way to go about doing things. If you disagree with how much they are approving, you need to be able to prove that. Write an estimate of your own that explains what it all is, not just supplemental line items. Write an estimate. If the policyholder signs off on that estimate, this is how much they're going to pay, period, then that's a very different kind of a contract than a contingency that says that the carrier is going to do the work for the amount that you've approved. Part of the prove it method that we teach is to have a contract that has a dollar amount on it. It's important to have that kind of a thing because you're establishing what the incurred cost is for the policyholder. This is how much you charge. Now, you can't charge an astronomical amount. You can't be fluffing the crap out of that thing. It needs to be what basically you would do for a retail job, because you shouldn't be charging more for insurance work than a retail job. And I know that there's a lot of controversy on what I just said, because I know you are doing a lot more work for it than you are for a retail job. But the reality is the job itself, the roofing project, is the same. The rest of that is administrative fees. So, if you're a contractor and you're hitting this problem regularly and they're saying, well, we'll just tell the policyholder that they can hire somebody else that will be able to do it for that amount, what do you do in that case? Because that's the real big issue here. The carriers can't get involved in your contract between the policyholder and them, but they can notify their policyholder that there are other contractors that exist that will do the work for that. As long as they're not pitting you against them and trying to get between you and that contract, then they're not really acting that inappropriately. It's almost as if you could say, oh, their insurance company isn't great. Maybe you should go to this other insurance company that is good. It's just as bad as you doing that. So if you are fluffing your estimates or charging a lot more than the average amount in your area, then the carrier asking the policyholder to look for other contractors might actually make sense. But in essence, if there is an amount of loss and they are basing their pricing off of what they think is the customary pricing in that area, and they disagree with your pricing, they can demand appraisal and send the whole thing to an appraisal process. The policyholder has a right to do the same thing if they agree that your estimate is correct. But you can resolve a lot of these issues by having a set contract amount up front, not a contingency. And this is what we teach in the Prove It method. So take a look at that if you want to, so you can get a little bit more information about how that process would work. But ultimately, I want you to start considering how that contingency contract really affects things. I hope that helps.